Adaptive project management. Adaptive project management is a structured and systematic process to continually improve decisions and practices by learning from the outcomes of previous actions. What it means in project management is that when the project team completes a cycle, a phase, or delivers a significant milestone, it goes through the 4 stages: plan the work, do the work, check the work, and act by making changes based on what was learned. This is the process of continuous improvement at the core of adaptive project management. Those stages happen during the lifetime of the project and occur on each of the project management phases, from the start to the end of the project. The project manager and the team will follow multiple iterations of this cycle. At the end of each cycle, the lessons are learned and incorporated in the next phase. To help understand adaptive project management, it's important to understand the difference between traditional project management and adaptive project management. In traditional project management, it's a methodology where projects are run in a sequential cycle. It follows a fixed sequence of phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and controlling and closure. The traditional project management approach puts special emphasis on linear processes, upfront planning, and fixed scope. In this methodology, time and budget are variable, and the scope is fixed, due to which it often faces budgeting and timeline issues. The project goal in traditional project management is getting the job done within the requirements of time, budget, and scope within donor requirements. In adaptive, the goal is more about getting results and meeting multiple stakeholder criteria. The planning approach in traditional, the focus is on developing the plans and follow them until the end of the project. In adaptive, the approach is to develop a flexible plan that is constantly adapted to the changes in the context. The project plan. In traditional, it is a collection of activities that are executed as planned to meet the project constraints. In adaptive, it is using a planning process to achieve the goals and development results. The management approach in traditional is usually rigid and focused on the initial plan. In adaptive, it is more flexible, it is changing, and it's adapted to conditions and the context that is changing in the project environment. Project work. In traditional, the approach is usually predictable, certain, linear, and simple. In adaptive, it's usually unpredictable. There is a lot of uncertainty, is non-linear, and complex. The effect on the environment in traditional will usually be minimal. In adaptive, it will affect the project throughout its execution. The type of project control in traditional is more on identifying deviations and trying to put things back on track. In adaptive, it's more on identifying changes in the environment and adjust the plans accordingly. That means the team is actively seeking opportunities to make changes and improve the plans. Finally, a traditional methodology treats all the projects the same. It relies on the standardization to produce efficiencies and cost controls. While adaptive, all projects are different. It relies on innovation and learning to adapt the project to the changes in the context and increase the quality of the results. Projects do not exist in isolation. They are heavily influenced by a constantly changing environment. That environment is made of conditions or factors that the project manager sometimes has little or no influence to change. The internal environment is the organization. That includes the culture, the politics, the policies, and procedures that will have an influence on the project. The second environment is the external environment. That is the location where the project is working. It will be the country, the community, or even the region. It includes the social, economical, political, and legal conditions that will also have an impact on the project. Those two environments are constantly changing, but it's the external environment where the changes are going to have a larger impact on the project. Here's an example. We want to make a trip from point A to point B, and we develop a plan that will help us manage the time and the cost, and we will gather some basic information about the conditions of the road. Most of the time, when we develop our plan, we're going to have a good idea of the time and the cost to complete this trip. And that's usually what happens in traditional project management. We develop a plan, we know how much time and how much money we need to complete the project goal. But what we find in most development projects is different. Using our simple example, As the project starts implementing, we find that things are different from what was planned. We still need to reach point B, but the road conditions have changed, and that will have an effect on the constraints of the schedule and the budget. There are new signs that point to changes. A road is closed, there is a detour, waiting times are longer than expected, and other conditions that are happening that are increasing the risk that we might not be able to reach our goal with the planned schedule and budget. In face of these challenges, we need to start adapting our plan, making changes so that we can meet our objective. We might need to make fewer rest stops or find alternate routes that will help us avoid some of the delays and achieve our goal. And that is the reality in development projects. We cannot just build our plan and expect everything will go according to that plan. The initial conditions and assumptions that were identified at the start of the project will change. Adaptive project management is based on the following principles. Focus on delivering results instead of activities. Iterative planning and monitoring for continuous improvements. Active consultation and participation of stakeholders, especially beneficiaries. Flexible to adapt to changes and opportunities, changes that provide additional value. Open communications, transparency, and accountability in all actions, and continuous learning through reflective practice.